Hey, it's your old pal Lucid Stew again, and in this video we're doing a review and overview of business class travel on the new NextGen Acela II train sets, thanks to friend of the channel Roadrunner from Rhode Island. I will be referring to him as Rhodey for the purposes of this video. For one thing, it's easier, and also if he's Rhodey, that makes me Tony Stark, which is fitting, except for the wealth, charm, and brains. Anyway, our Acela II is pulling into the station. These trains operate on the Northeast Corridor from Washington, D.C. to Boston, Massachusetts. Rhodey is going to ride that from Providence, Rhode Island to New York City to give us the goods. First of all, can I just say this is a beautiful train? Maybe you don't care, but I think travel is so much more fun in cool-looking vehicles. Rhodey is going to wander through a couple of cars for us while we discuss this new train. These have been in the works for nearly 10 years, and the first few just went into service at the end of August. They are manufactured by Alstom, mostly in upstate New York. They are an upgrade from the Acela Express sets that they are replacing in terms of capacity and raw speed. They hold up to 386 passengers. That's an increase of 20% over the older sets. There will be 28 total eventually. That's an increase of 40%, and those two combined increase the capacity of the high-speed service by over 50%. Speaking of speed, these will be running in service at up to 160 miles per hour, which is an increase from the previous 150. This is also a tilting train, which means it can go through curves a little faster than a conventional. According to Rhodey, you do not notice the tilting, so no one needs to worry about getting seasick. Now that we're aboard and settled in, let's discuss the features, amenities, and experience in business class. We'll start with the seat. Padding is adequate, but not overly generous. The head wing thing is okay, but somewhat annoying. Here's Rhodey in the flesh demonstrating that headroom to overhead storage is adequate even if you play center for the Knicks. You have a handy cup holder and fold-down tray that is apparently not meant to be operated with one hand. That clip also looks like it might get you into some fights. Speaking of that, there is a window curtain you can slide up or down to piss off the people around you that are sharing the window. While we're on that subject, there is this fold-out footrest thing. Is that for short people? I don't know. This brings us to the topic of legroom. Rhodey, being of unremarkable stature, makes it look like there may be some issues here for the genuinely tall. Otherwise, it looks adequate. I think it would be nice to have a little more room personally. While this and the overall experience seems very airline-like, you may not fold your seats back into the upright position because they are fixed. A quote-unquote recline feature is built into the lumbar support. I'll use Rhodey's poignant words here, quote, "It's not really a recline, it just forces you to slouch. It wasn't horrible, but I didn't care for it," unquote. This seems to sum up the mediocrity of the entire seating situation. Speaking of that, between each set of seats is a set of USB and 120 volt plugs. Very nice design. Unfortunately, the USB ports were not functioning. 120 volt plugs were A-OK. While you're charging, you might like to connect to the onboard Wi-Fi network. That is simple enough, but be careful because it is an unsecured network. Rhodey indicates the network dropped a few times, so don't count on doing anything too important for too long. Let's leave our devices behind and explore a little. We're going to start off at the trash because that's how Rhodey rolls. Everyone looks wide awake on the train to work in the morning, and of course, because it's reminiscent of air travel, someone is naturally standing in the aisle screwing around. I do enjoy the overall aesthetic that gives off a airliner meets cruise ship meets submarine vibe. These trains consist of 7 business cars, a cafe car, and a first class car. They refuse to let Rhodey into first class, but we won't get into that. We'll check out the cafe car in a second. You can see that despite the rumors, overhead rack space is adequate. No one's luggage is hanging off or anything like that. For larger items, additional storage areas are available, including the tempt me to steal this bag area. I had no idea people in this region were this trusting. That is near the accessible seating space on one end of each passenger car. Those have USB and 120 volt plugs and a call button. These trains are ACA compliant with wheelchair width doors and level boarding, so these spaces can be accessed unassisted. The same goes for our favorite part of any train, the toilet, and this one is a beauty. I can't wait to get in there. I love this door from the future with push button close and lock. I love that it shoomps when you lock it, and it tells you. That way you never have to be paranoid about whether you locked it right or not. Being fully ACA compliant, these bathrooms are huge. Set me up a cot and charge me $500 a month, am I right? These are feature complete. You have a changing table and even some shelves if you want to freshen up. Perfect. The sink is touchless but has some issues. Rhodey doesn't seem to fully understand how soap dispensers work, but the label also looks somewhat misaligned. The faucet is okay. The hand dryer is nothing to write home about, but at least Rhodey figured it out eventually. But look at this toilet, would ya? Al Bundy, eat your heart out. It looks like a space station toilet or something. I really like the gigantic flush button, and that flush sound is oh so satisfying. I'm not even going to ask about that emergency call button though. Okay, Rhodey, let's get out of here. I can tell you this guy is practically obsessed with train toilets. Time to go check out the cafe car. Pretty nice. You have a couple of areas where you can mill about and not interact with the other passengers while pretending to look out the window. You have some tasty grab-and-go selections. Unfortunately, the kiosk for the self-checkout was not functioning at the time of recording on September 9th. There is hot food on offer as well as other options that can be obtained through the counter attendant. This includes a selection of overpriced wines and alcoholic beverages in case you want to get soused on the way home, or better yet, work. Food prices aren't bad, but not great. About what you'd expect from captive audience food. $3.50 for a freshly brewed coffee is attractive. Unfortunately, Rhodey doesn't touch caffeine, so I can't tell you if the coffee is any good yet. I directed Rhodey to grab something to eat for a short food review. Let's sit down and enjoy the beautiful Connecticut countryside and get ready to eat. While we're chilling, let's see how fast this train is going. Some have complained that these trains are slower than the Acela Express sets. They are not. Due to scheduling, not every Acela takes the same time to get between Washington, D.C. and Boston, and Amtrak has placed the new sets into the slower slots to shake them out, which makes sense. However, these trains are at least as capable as the older sets, so don't be fooled. On average, Acela takes about 7 hours between Boston and Washington, D.C., and 3 hours between D.C. and New York City. We've been going pretty fast, but will it make it to 160 miles per hour? Yes, it will. 160 confirmed. Back to the food, Rhodey went with this falafel salad. Looks pretty good, especially for grab and go. Rhodey's overall opinion was positive, but he says it could be a little more robust for the money, and I'm apt to agree. Another tablespoon of beets, a few more cucumber slices, and a fourth falafel, and me and Amtrak start seeing eye to eye for $15. Rhodey gave it a 7.5 out of 10, which sounds pretty decent for what it is. But all good things must come to an end, and into the overly full trash bin it goes. With that, I ask you to observe the clear and bright sign directing you to check for belongings that also happens to be displaying the incorrect time. We're near the end of our journey, rolling across the Hellgate Bridge into Queens and ultimately New York Penn Station. There we will continue our airline-like experience, getting stuck behind people who can't figure out difficult tasks like picking up luggage, walking down an aisle, or walking through a doorway. Once that is completed, we will alight onto a way too narrow platform and are greeted by a bunch of people who look like they'd like to punch Rhodey's lights out for filming them. Rhodey's specialty on his channel is taking rail to birding spots around the country. New York Penn was no exception. He managed to capture 3 species of bird in the area. Those are pigeon bird, sparrow bird, and ratbird. Then he headed back to Rhode Island on a Northeast Regional train to await my call to action in the future. Thanks so much for sharing this journey with us. I hope you had as good a time as we did exploring business class on these new NextGen Acela II trains. This video was a big thanks to all you subscribers out there and a prelude to riding this train myself to celebrate 25,000 subscribers. We are currently 3,400 short and on pace for next spring, so hit that subscribe button and help make it happen. Also, kindly do me a favor and check out Roadrunner from Rhode Island's channel to say thanks for his hard work and his ability to tolerate all of my bad jokes. There are plenty more videos to come from me. I have no idea what's next, but I can give you a couple of additional ways to support the channel and keep the content coming. Check out that super thanks button below the video and give it a click, or visit my Printify Railroad poster store and get yourself a nifty poster using the link or the QR code. But that's all for now. Until next time, I'll see you on that big beautiful freeway.